school officially started today in Lincoln, Nebraska. We had some of the public schools start yesterday. Private schools are today, and middle schools are today. And it's an interesting world in Nebraska because we have alternative programming, and so I don't. Each state is different, and as
Yeah.
technology providers, you have to learn what's going on locally. So, for instance, with Lincoln, where we have A and B programming, and so my daughter will go to class on was it Monday, Tuesday, and every other Wednesday.
Okay.
And so, what does she do on the off days?
Yeah.
And this is a concern for parents. Like, okay, so they're going to be at home doing Zoom meetings, just like they were in April.
Uh-huh.
And people are trying to establish norms. So one of my thoughts is the We Workspaces are going to get a lot of business here pretty soon.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably the one real estate investment that is really going to pay
My
off.
Lord.
Yep.
I mean, these high schoolers are old enough to be alone, but if they're at home, they're just going to eat chips and watch TV.
Yeah.
If they get dropped off at a We Workspace, they have it's like a school. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a place to work and it's a professional setting.
I
And
don't know.
in my
I can see
opinion,
the
it
parents
helps.
leaving. No, I can see the parents leaving the kids at home and they go into the WeWork
Oh,
space. Yeah.
the idea being is that these kids like have somewhere to study. Like I know if I was a high schooler, like I was trying to find the hole in the library where I could hide.
Yeah.
I had my specific desk. I found in my dorms in college. I am always like, if I'm in your business, I will find the hidey holes.
Yeah.
I'm an extrovert, but I will find the nooks and crannies.
Yep.
And when I was in my dorm, I happened to be one of those guys that just explore everywhere. And I found out that there were these unused offices underneath the dorm that were meant for grad students, but had been forgotten about for like 20 years.
Oh,
So I went
wow.
up and asked my RA, like, what are these things down there? Like, I got a bunch of keys that I got handed to me. I wonder if that's what those are for. And so I grabbed one of the keys, and sure enough, it opened this private study office that any student could have. And I said, can I just have this key for the rest of the semester? He's like, yeah, I don't think anybody knows these even exist. And so with We Workspaces, like I would have been all over that. You just give me a desk, I will put my headphones in. You won't hear from me for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Just need a spot where no one can find me.
Well,
So I foresee those as getting more popular. But what I wanted to bring up today regarding this problem with kids that's happening right now is I have just got the phone with a concerned parent of a business owner, and they're like, my kids are home. They've been home for months, and now I'm just uncovering all of these like social networks they're in and all these issues and stuff like that. And like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And so I walk them through like some good technical stuff, like, Firewalla is a great home device. And then like what to talk to their kids about and how to get them to understand that the internet is not a safe place, but they still have to learn to play there.
Yep.
And then what does this mean for MSPs? Like, well, right now you have a bunch of people returning to school. Your businesses are concerned about it. Are there ways for you to help them?
Yeah.
Are there ways for you to provide solutions that help them think things through? Could it be that as an MSP, you host a workshop that is going to be a Q&A session for parents of returning kids of alternate school schedules? What does this mean? And having a seminar like that to kind of like do a PR stunt, or maybe like have it a $50 a head kind of thing webinar where you're going to teach them how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, that's really good because those sort of, poignant workshops, those hands-on maybe kind of webinars, definitely gonna be a hot topic, but that's really just an opportunity to engage with, your clients or your potential clients And, whatever comes out of it, the engagement, I think, is the most valuable asset in that, right? Because then you're going to have that opportunity to, again, like we've always said, have conversations and not presentations. And so when you really get in those, just make sure if you're going to run something like that, just really get your hands dirty with it. Jump in. It doesn't have to be nice and polished. The takeaway is people, will appreciate the interaction with you and probably get a lot more value out of it than if you just put on some, canned and polished presentation. And I think we are going to have to look around a little bit. For those of you who've heard me talk before, I'm still living on two cities, opposite sides of the state. And out here in West Texas, it's a lot more hybrid stuff, but there's quite a bit of, going back to campuses coming up. Now, on the eastern side down in the greater Houston area, it's almost all virtual. And it's very dynamic. I mean, even one of the school districts down there that we're attending, they had set next Tuesday as the start of school. Well, things are just, really up in the air. So many issues. I'm kind of wondering what their technical, purchasing requirements are right now. But they came out and said, we're going to push that back 3 weeks. And they did that last week. So there's just a lot of, fluidity in the work, in the education space out there. And when that happens, it's great opportunity for us to jump in there and start working with these people. The larger school districts may not be, your sweet spot, but as Adam talked, the parents, that's even some of your, maybe some of your bigger customers. If they've got a lot of kids in school, maybe you offer a special workshop just for that one client, or you team up and a couple of them. I mean, I think there's just a lot of opportunities once you start thinking through this, that you'll find great ways to engage with your clients.
Yeah, and this is all about adapting to what is it your clients need and what is going on in the world. Even the PR stunts, and let's just call it that right now. Let's say you do it for free. Calling up a private school and saying, hey, I'm not selling you anything here, but we as a company are concerned about kids being on the internet a lot more now, and we're wondering if we couldn't host a seminar at your school if you would be willing to host it. We would like to talk to parents and stuff and do a Q&A.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's going to show up to these. It's one way to give back to the community, and it's a great way to learn more about what's concerning people. And these little publicity stunts earn you business long term, because now they've heard your name.
Yep.
An hour of your time answering a Q&A of how do I stay safe at home or at my business, even like a simple how to keep your business separate from your kids' like crap fest of a PC or a laptop over there.
Yep.
And like, hey, all you need to do is just buy a second router and put it in place and make sure your work stuff is on that, and everything else can be over in the Wild West that is your house.
Yep.
And just have your work stuff inside. The little tips like that are obvious to us.
Or
your average person does not know.
How many of you, the nerds, all the nerds in the room go, well, I already have a DMZ on my home router.
And don't call it a DMZ for the love of God, because they don't know what one is. But to you and I, like, oh yeah, well, I've got a mid-tier firewall with, I've got, because that's the way we work. Is It's not any IT person when you go into their house. It's not a matter of do they have Wi-Fi. It's how many are you going to pick it up.
Yeah,
I've got a 1, a 2. A 5G, a 4G, and then they feel like, which one do I use? I'm like, which one's strongest?
No, they have different. They all have different purposes. All five.
My 5G is for all my streaming devices.
No, not 5G. I have 5 wireless networks at my house, and they're all for different things.
Oh man, yeah. So I should do that, but I'm at the point in my life where I'd rather troubleshoot and fix the hack than anything. Um, but yeah, see, it's these things that you can do in your sleep. The average person doesn't even know to ask.
Yeah.
And having a Q&A where you show people like, hey, there's something called Firewalla. It's very easy to use at home. It's controllable from your phone. It'll alert you when your kids are all watching movies or when your spouse is looking at ducks online. You know, these are things that help, that will that will that will help them endear to you. And some of these are business owners. Some of them are just workers, and when they have a problem at their workplace, like, well, at home, I went to the seminar hosted by Virtual C, and they talked about this and this and this. And I'm like, well, who's this Virtual C? Maybe we should have them come talk about our business.
There we go. There we go.
Or maybe they see your flyer come across their desk, or they see your ad. I mean, this is all good PR opportunities.
Yep.
And we are in a world where this needs to happen. This, like, these conversations, everybody's interested in technology right now. And everybody thinks they're an expert. You remember, like, back in the, maybe Skip, you remember this. You're old.
Yeah.
I think Mike's on his knee. He's old too.
He's old too. Yes.
We were just talking about this morning. Mike's been in the field for long enough. We all remember the first round of power users in the corporate world where they thought they knew everything and they just were your biggest pain in the neck.
Yes.
We're getting those people again, but now they're the kids. The kids are at home and they know a lot. And they know just enough to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And so now our parents and people are having to deal with them. Now, we don't see the power users as much in the corporate work environment. It's kind of a norm. And this is kind of like everybody just knows how things work. And every once in a while, you'll get that idiot who thinks that they can just change the backup schedule a little bit. Or, just, use a different login for this or that. But it's become a lot more rare than it was in the 90s and the 2000s, where it was a lot harder to crank down on permissions. And everybody was an admin anyway. So but now we have these kids coming home, and parents are wanting to know how to lock them down, how to restrict them in a family-friendly way. This is a question that we all answered 20 years ago. How do you deal with users on your network that are just wrecking havoc?
Yep.
And all I gotta say is, it's poetic. Just watching the rest of the world deal with this problem that we bitched about for years. And so our answer is, you lock that crap down.
Yep.
You educate and you lock that crap down. Now you know what every IT professional's been feeling for the past 20 years. You know that time when we complained about you having admin access on your PC because you kept installing stuff? What was it you just asked me about your kid? They have all those apps on their phones, and now you're having to remove them all, and you're worried about what they're doing.
You
Comeuppance are a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, what about mobile device management? I mean, it's not just the PCs now. Now we got to manage, things.
So parents are becoming their own network admins, and they have no idea what they're doing.
That is true.
And they're fighting this battle, and they're panicking. You're like, what do I do? How do I restrict things? What's the best app out there to do this with? And this is the home marketplace, and these are your business owners. These are your employees. And if you become that MSP who, like, hey, here's a pamphlet I have for you. Go ahead and just take this home and just follow these guidelines. Give it to all your employees.
Yeah.
It took you maybe an hour to create a one-sheeter of install this, go here to this website, learn about this, here's your checklist.
Well, and
now you care. You have endeared yourself.
Yeah.
You've given your client something for free, whether it be a webinar, a one-pager, or an in-person visit for a Q&A panel.
Yeah. It was an option for me when I was pricing out our managed service plans. We would go in, and we didn't have people use it very often, but if I saw the need or the opportunity, I'd throw it out there. For a reduced rate, we would add their home workstations to our monitoring and patch management system. So from that perspective, we're at least making sure antivirus is running. We're at least making sure they're getting patches and updates regularly. And just doing that, was that connection, that resource to our clients. So, that's something that you might think about too, is, take your existing plans and look at some add-ons to that. You could be generating a few dollars just with your existing client sets, just by offering something new. Hey, we'll do remote home PC management. I think there's a lot of opportunity out there. Again, all this change that's going on is just great opportunity for technology to come in and fill the gaps.
Yeah. So, that was just a really interesting conversation. And I know we've been talking lessons learned the last month or two, and we've been talking about business. I just wanted to change things up today, just because these are conversations I'm having with fellow business owners. They call me and they say, Adam, can you tell me more about this? Can you help me with that? And now there are questions because of school starting in Nebraska, there are just a lot of questions out there about, how do I do this better? And I'm actually considering just offering a webinar to shut everybody up. And because there's so many people asking the same question over and over and over again. I have kids at home. How do I protect them? I have kids at home. How do I teach them? Whatever your parenting style is, I'm thinking about offering just a free webinar, because one, it'll make me look really good. And I'm all about my business looking better. And, maybe we should just come up with a checklist in MSPL. And how is your home maturity?
And then, you record the webinar, and then, 2 weeks later, when someone else asks you the question, you just send them the link.
I'm all about that. So, I had to keep things short today, just because one, evidently my kids have been calling me nonstop because they want me to come pick them up at 1:30 because the buses aren't running today. Yay.
Well, before we drop off, we need to make sure we answer one question that got put out from last week. So continuing, so I kind of laid a few odds on this. So at any given time last week, while you were out fishing, did you have a dry erase marker with you? See, he's got to at least think about it. Okay.
I believe there is one in the console of my truck.
Okay. All right. So if you missed it from last week, you'll just have to go check out last week's BEP session. It was just me.
It was not in my pocket. I'll put it that far.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take that. I'll take that as the win. Close enough.
That is all I can say, that I did not hold one in my hand the entire week.
Okay. All right. So I might lose a few points there, but anyway, close enough. I'll call it a win.
But I do have one in my truck console.
Is that like your everyday carry?
Well, to be fair, to second what you're saying, is I want to redo my fridge and some of my cupboards in the camper with whiteboards, so that I have somewhere to draw.
That'll be good.
So, what was the question? I missed last week's recording.
Use whatever resources are you're most comfortable with to do your lessons learned, and then I made this little snippy comment that I bet Adam's got a dry erase marker with him right now, I
would use a stick and dirt.
Oh, there you go. Whatever it takes,
I would use stick and dirt, if I have to.
I'm old, so I always throw out there the big cheap tablet and the number 2 pencil, because that was.
I'll do that.
Old guy.
It's been a long time since I've used a chalkboard. I would love to use a chalkboard to do one someday.
No.
But to your point, use whatever you have, but make sure it's something that you can change dynamically. To speak at a higher level here, when it comes to good presentations, low-level presentations use procedures such as Canva, or use static content, because there's no discussion. You're just sending information out. If you want to teach people, use a dynamic medium such as a stick in the dirt or a whiteboard marker, or something that you can change and take people's ideas and incorporate them into what you're building. That way everybody gets a say in what is done.
Yep. Yep.
And
That's it.
that is important. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if somebody had asked me to do lessons learned, I probably would have like, oh crap, where's my whiteboard marker? But if I don't have a whiteboard, it's no good for a whiteboard marker. But whiteboard marker works really great on glass, which I have used in the past.
Yeah, that was, I had a really nice office for many years, and I never put up a whiteboard because I had a giant picture frame window, and I used it constantly. That was my whiteboard.
Yep, it works. I like glass. You can even get those glass whiteboards that really are really nice, and they don't get pitted and they don't stain as well. So
use dark colors. The light color stuff doesn't fly on glass.
It's a great to. I am notorious for leaving notes on glass. So if you actually come to Virtual C someday, you'll see like on everybody's panes of glass there is like a stick figure or some message like Adam was here, and because people know that I always have the whiteboard marker on me, and I will leave notes for them, like, hey John, can you come talk to me? I'll leave it on there. I'll leave it on the glass on their door.
It works.
It's a human touch, you know. So with that, I think that's all I had for today. Is like I just want to do a little break. Again, I wasn't here last week, and I wanted to just let this be a little bit more free form and kind of what I'm dealing with this week. And it's a lot of business owners just asking, how do I deal with my kids going back to school? You know, you might even get questions from businesses about, are there safe ways for kids to work in my workplace? So if you got a kid on an alternate school schedule, can they work in the business in their own network segment? Is there a safe way for them to bring the Chromebook or whatever it is?
That's good.
So be thinking about that. You know, it might be that that's a perk that your client wants to offer in a safe way.
Yep.
And the only thing holding them back is knowing that they don't want a kid PC on their corporate network. That's an easy fix.
It is. That's an easy fix.
That's why you have a DMZ.
Yep.
All right. With that, I'm going to let everybody go. I'm going to go pick up my kids and deal with life, and I will be back online in a half an hour.
All right. See y'all later.
Talk to you later. Bye.